Today we will be reviewing Chapter 3, which is about the properties of matter. We will be reviewing properties of matter, changes in matter, mixtures of matter, and elements and compounds. The guiding question is, what is the difference between a compound and a mixture? By the end of this review video, you will have a clear idea of the difference between a compound and a mixture. First, we will be reviewing some properties of matter and the differences between physical and chemical properties. First, what is matter? Matter is any substance that has a mass and takes up space by having volume. A substance is a form of matter with a uniform and unchanging composition. All substances have three common states of matter: solids, liquids, or gas. Physical properties are any characteristics or attributes that can be measured without changing the chemical nature of the substance. Some of the physical properties of a substance are mass, volume, melting point, boiling point, color, and density. The chemical properties of a substance can be identified when the substance changes into a different substance. The chemical properties of a substance can't be identified just by looking at it or by touching it, like some physical properties. Chemical properties can be observed only when the substance changes in its structure and forms a different substance. Both physical and chemical properties are affected by external conditions such as temperature and pressure. Now, we will review some changes in matter. A physical change is a change to one or more of a substance's physical properties. The particles of the substance are not changed, and the substance is still the same substance after the physical change. There is no change in the chemical properties of the substance during a physical change. Some common examples of physical changes are changes in state, such as water freezing or ice melting into water. Some other examples of physical changes are changes in texture and shape. A chemical change results in the rearrangement of particles and the formation of a different substance. Because the substance undergoing a chemical change turns into a different substance, both its physical and its chemical properties change. A chemical change can also be called a chemical reaction. A simple and common example of a chemical change is the rusting of iron. An important law to note when talking about chemical reactions or change is the law of conservation of mass, which states that matter is neither created nor destroyed during a chemical reaction, but it is conserved. Now we will review mixtures in matter. First, I will break down the organization of matter. On screen now, you can see the breakdown. As stated earlier, matter is any substance that has mass and takes up space by having volume. A pure substance is made of a single type of material whose particles are all the same. These are either elements or compounds. Elements have only one kind of atom and can't be separated into simpler substances or converted into other elements through ordinary chemical processes. Compounds form when atoms of two or more elements bond together in a fixed ratio. Next, mixtures are combinations of two or more elements or compounds. Mixtures differ from compounds because the components of a mixture aren't chemically bonded to each other and aren't mixed in a fixed ratio. Because the substances in the mixture aren't chemically bonded to each other, each substance retains its physical properties. It's possible to separate a mixture into its components by physical processes. Depending on their composition and the distribution of their materials, mixtures are classified as homogeneous or heterogeneous. The difference is the components of a heterogeneous mixture are not evenly distributed, though the components of a homogeneous mixture are evenly distributed throughout the mixture, so it appears to be uniform. We can't see the individual components that make up the mixture, and so it can be referred to as a solution. Unlike pure substances, mixtures can be separated through physical means. Finally, we will review elements and compounds. First off, elements are substances that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by physical or chemical means. We just reviewed what compounds are, but again, they are chemical combinations of two or more elements. Properties of compounds may differ from the properties of the elements they are composed of. Finally, we will review some things to keep in mind when dealing with compounds and elements. One law to keep in mind is the law of definite proportions, which states that a compound is always composed of the same elements in the same proportions. Another law to keep in mind is the law of multiple proportions, which states that if elements form more than one compound, those compounds will have compositions that are small, whole number multiples of each other. Now, we can answer the guiding question and say a mixture is made by physically mixing two or more substances, while a compound consists of elements that are chemically bonded together.